Welcome to another tutorial, and this one is going to be the Quilted Cow Poppies Mini Oven Mitts. This is a recently new one that's put out, and that is what they are going to look like. And I happen to get the same kit that the fabric of these is made from, so mine should hopefully turn out just like that. So I'm going to get started by opening, this is a complete fabric kit, so everything that I need was provided for in the kit. I've got my fabrics, I've got my cotton, 100% cotton batting, and I have my Insul Bride, which are two must-haves if you're making anything that heat is going on. And then I've got these really pretty fabrics right here. I'm assuming this is probably going to be the inside lining one. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to iron my fabrics, and then I'm going to cut out all my pieces. If you are wanting to make these, you do need to buy the pattern. It does not come with the kit, but there's everything that you will need fabric wise to make that, and it makes 2 mitts. So let's get started. Alright, so first couple things I did was I am able to make copies on my printer, so I made a copy of each of the templates here, and then I cut them out using my paper scissors. And the second thing is I cut an accent fabric, cotton batting, Insul Bright, and my interior fabric. I cut what was needed in the first step, and now I have sandwiched them together. And I have lots of different ways I can base, but today I chose to use my 505 spray, and so I have spray basted all of these layers together. My inside lining piece is right side down. Follow that is my Insul Bright, and then on top of that is my cotton batting, and then on top of that is the material I'm using for my accent. So all of that, I used a light layer of spray in between each layer, and so everything is sandwiched together. So now I'm going to quilt these layers together. I'm still deciding how I want to do that. I might just use a decorative stitch, which is kind of my go-to, but you can definitely like draw diagonal lines and then go the other way, or just do one set of diagonal lines. You can just do straight lines up and down. I might do a decorative stitch and just space them out every once in a while and just stitch with a decorative stitch a few times to hold all of these layers together. It would be best to do it if you have a walking foot because of all the layers, but if you don't have a walking foot, just use your regular foot. Here we go. So here's mine, and I spaced it out and I drew my lines lengthwise, and I've got 1, 2, 3 lines to draw on, and I'm just doing this decorative stitch here. So once I do that, then it will be time to place my patterns and start cutting out some. The next part is to place your pattern. You're going to cut out 2 of these from the quilted piece that you just finished. There it is on the back. And so I've just taken it, pinned it. You can trace it, but I'm just going to directly cut around it, and then I'm going to take it and move it down and then cut out my second piece. Alright, so here they are all cut out. There's the inside, there's the accent. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out a piece of my lining, which was this one. I'm going to cut out a piece according to the next directions of the lining. Another piece of my insulated batting, which is my Insul Bright cotton batting, and then my main fabric, which is the chicken one. And then I'm gonna sandwich them all together, quilt them, and then cut out these guys from them. So I'll be cutting out 2 each on them. Alright, so here's my sandwich. I've got my lining fabric right side down, then I've got my Insul Bright, and then I've got my 100% cotton batting, and then I've got my main fabric on top here. So now I'm going to quilt this probably with the same stitch that I used on my other. And then once I have it quilted, I will lay these guys out. And I'll go with my directional. I'll do two of those, and then I will do 2 of those. So I decided that my other stitch would just be too much for it because it takes a while to do the decorative stitch, but I just drew lines and then stitched a diagonal. So now I am going to cut these out. So if you have directional fabric, you kind of have to just think about, you know, where you want it to go. Like this is the bottom of the mitt, which is right there. So you might want to cut it out with your chickens going in the direction of the curve. So just think about that as you cut out if you have directional fabric. So now I'm going to cut out 2 of these and 2 of those. So my directional fabric is upside down, right? My chickens are upside down, and that's how I'm going to cut it. Because when I look at it from, you know, this way in the curve, they're going to be not upside down. But it really just depends on what you want, and that's just how I'm going to do mine. All right. All right, so these are the longer ones. You will be able to tell, like if you stack them, you'll be able to tell which ones are the longer ones. And from here in, I've measured down according to the pattern and have marked a line. So I've done that on both of my long ones there. Okay. All right, so this part is the first, you know, long ovally shaped one I cut out. And I'm putting my accent piece right side up. And this should be that, but it isn't because I made my mistake. But anyway, this is my main fabric. My main fabric is down, and this should be my what do we call it? My lining piece. But anyway, I've clipped it. I've matched up the curves there, and then I've clipped it. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna start here at the sew line and back tack and sew 1/4 of an inch all the way around this curve until we get to that where I marked there. Okay, and then we're gonna back tack, and then I already did the second one as well, and I'm gonna do that as well. So from line, back tack all the way around the curve, and then stop once I get there and back tack. So now that that's on, I took my scissors and clipped all along the curve because that helps relaxes the fabric. So now we're gonna attach the smaller one to the opposite side. So this flap right here is just gonna go up, and we're gonna take the small one, main fabric down, and we're gonna line it. And I also have my measurement drawn from here in, just like I did the large one. And then I'm gonna clip it, and then I'm gonna sew in the same manner as I did the large one, starting at the line drawn all the way around and end at where the line is drawn. And then I'm gonna clip around the curve on both to relax the fabric. All right, so now that they're both attached, I have lined up the end from this piece and the end from this piece, as you can see, and I've clipped on both sides. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this and I am going to stitch. It's best to use a walking foot. You want a 1/4 inch seam. You're going to stitch from the top here to the base. And then you're going to come here and stitch the top to the base, and on this one and this one as well. Then when you're done with that, you're going to put it back in the machine, and where this was the line that you drew that you started and stopped, well, you're going to start from where you started stitching here, and then you're going to stitch in to there on both sides there, and then you're going to turn it around and stitch from there to there, there to there, and then the same on this side as well. You are going to leave this long side open for now. Okay, so don't sew this. Okay, so short sides, top to base, and then from sew line in on both sides, on both of them. All right, so that's what it looks like when they're done, and you can definitely tell that you have the 2 pockets there. Everything is sewn up all the way, stitch lines. So now we're going to oh, I forgot to do there. I gotta go do there, and then we're gonna good catch, prepare the binding. So it looks like from the pattern that we're only putting binding here, that this part right here all the way around is gonna be raw, but it's gonna be inside the mitt. I mean, if that bothers you, you can put binding on all the way around. I'm gonna follow the pattern and just do the binding for the top. So I'm leaving it the way I just had it, because we're going to attach the binding to the inside here, and then we will turn it inside out, and then we will fold the binding over and then attach it to the main fabric on the outside. Okay? All right, so for the binding, I've cut what was needed, and then I just folded it in half like that, wrong sides together, and pressed it. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to open it up, and we're going to refold this so that the short end comes over and matches the other short end. And we're going to sew that together so that way it creates like a loop there. Okay, that will go around this part. So I'm going to go ahead and sew that together and do it to my second one. Alright, so now that it's sewn together, you just turn it right side out. Sorry. One-handed prop there. Alright, and then you just fold it on the fold before. And if you want to, you can go and press that area where you just sewed them together. Okay, so now I've got my 2 loops. So next you just fit the loop that you just made over this area of the mitt, and this is the raw edge here, so you have raw edge to raw edge, and you just clip in place. So now you're going to take this to the machine, you're going to put it in your machine, and you're going to sew a scant 1/4 of an inch all the way around to attach it. Now if this won't fit in your machine, the pattern suggests hand stitching. I'm hoping it will fit in my machine. Alright, because I will not look forward to hand stitching. I don't know if I would hand stitch, but anyway, here we go. Okay, mine fit in my machine, thank goodness. So now that I've got it attached, I'm going to reach in and turn it inside out, and then I will turn that in and attach it to the front. So here's what the outside looks like. There's what the inside looks like. You do have some of those raw edges, but I've just folded over the binding here to the front and clipped it, and you can either hand stitch it or you can machine stitch it. So I'm going to go ahead and just machine stitch it all the way around, and then I will finish that one. So here they are done. My binding, it looks a lot better on the inside. I would probably attach it to the outside and then turn it in so this would be hidden in there, but it is what it is, or just hand stitch it would look really nice. But anyway, they're done. Here's what they look like on. And I got some chicken fabric, and I think overall they turned out pretty well. My binding needs a little bit of help, so thinking about different ways, like I said, attaching it to the front and then turning it inside out and then sewing it on the inside, or just hand stitching it so it looks pretty nice. But there they are. I think they still turned out cute and will thoroughly enjoy using them. So there is the Poppies oven mitt. Happy sewing!